Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Know 360 show hosted by me, Annette, the warm hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high achieving business owners and music artists who share with our audience the importance of building a strong community of like minded individuals on the road to greater success. And today's show is a collaboration between NNO 360 and Mr. Joe Ham. He is also known as Dub Cal,
Yes, sir.
an emerging artist, poet, and if you don't know it, he's also a writer. he's You see how I rhyme there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it. I like it. I like
From
it.
San Jose, California. I wish I had the warmth here because in Virginia it is like I think 24
Ooh,
degrees or something.
chilly.
It's cold, yeah.
It's
But
chilly.
look, to all shout out to all my Canadian friends out there.
Hey.
More power to you. I think they're at like -12.
Woo.
So I'm not complaining here,
Man.
y'all.
Hey, I lived in St. Louis where it was like -9 degrees though, so I was there for 4 years and that was enough for me.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
forget it, forget it. I almost got hit by a tornado one year. I was like,
Oh
nope, I
wow.
like earthquakes better.
Oh my gosh, that is nuts. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, we know that you're a creative person. Thank you so much for creating these designs for me.
Oh,
I was like, oh my gosh, that's like an early Christmas gift. So I really,
hey,
really appreciate it. I don't really get much from people, so
it's
I
all
was
right.
like, oh my gosh,
No
that's
worries,
so
no worries.
cool. We know that you're creating a book as well, a
Mhm.
children's book, and you're, I think, going to release a mystery,
The
murder
murder
mystery
mystery.
novel and a
Yes.
short story collection, horror collection in 2025. With
Mhm.
that being said, welcome, Joe Ham.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Much love to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir. I have several questions for you today.
Okay.
So, no pressure. You're like,
I'm there. I'm there.
I
I'm
got
ready.
this in the I got this in the
I'm ready.
bag, girl.
I'm ready.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
So the first question is, who is Joe Ham?
So, Johan, aside from being a father, and so I'm going to school right now too as well. So, statistics class, got to say I hate it. Hate it
Ooh,
so bad. I got my final exam on the 9th. I can't wait to finish that though. I'm ready to go.
I know
So,
that's right. Who
yeah, and then
that?
yeah, and then other than that, just I'm writing a poetry novel right now. I don't know exactly when that's going to be released. It might be a little while from now. As far as children books, though, I do have one called Fancy Fancy, which is a book about encouraging young girls or even young kids that being fancy isn't the only way to feel confident, that you have to be
Hmm.
comfortable in your own skin and be comfortable with who you are as a person, though. And you don't have to have materialistic things to feel that way. And you don't have to be fancy just to fit in either. And that one is dedicated to my youngest daughter. I do have over 20 children's books though, but they're going to be released
Wow.
throughout the year, maybe a little longer than that. And as you mentioned, I got a murder mystery novel called Dead to Me.
Hmm.
um, I don't know exactly how many pages it's going to be, but it's a pretty long book. And then there's going to be a bonus short story horror novel called The Purple Tie.
Wow.
Um, Funny story behind that is though is that I got that from Donald Trump. um, uh, I I don't know why. I'm not going to say that I hate him or I don't hate him. Let's just say I got the idea for him though.
Hmm.
It is what it is. But yeah, so I wrote a short little novel on that. So that'll be a bonus addition to the horror novel. Shout out to I gotta say too, shout out to Lord Days and my brother Monster Yo. They're the reasons why this stuff is coming out. They're helping me out through this process, getting me the illustrations done and everything like that. So anybody, if you're looking for a book, if you're looking to get some created, get some written, get some out there, published on Amazon like that, hit up Monster Yo. You can check out me or Pacific Nine Divas pages. He's on there though. Check him out. He'll help you out and refer our names. So and
Oh,
oh,
wonderful.
that book is actually is in the next 2 weeks. That first children's book is going to be published on Amazon though, so I'll let you know about that too, and everyone else.
Okay, yeah, be sure to tag me so I can share it, no doubt.
Will
Uh
do.
free Master Yo, y'all. Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you for that.
Yes,
And
sir.
so you've been a poet, an artist, a writer. I saw your YouTube video on your song. How did you first get into these creative fields?
Well, when I was younger, um, my mom actually is. I credit my mom for my creative side. When I was younger, I was going through it though, and my mom gave me a journal, and she said, just write. So all you gotta do is just write anything you feel, just write.
Mhm.
And I started writing. I've looked over. It's funny too because my grandmother, rest in peace, when she died, she gave me a bunch of old journals that I had, and to be honest though, I wish I didn't read them though because they're kind of depressing though. It reminded me of how like fucked up shit was though growing up though. But
Oh,
it's
wow.
I laugh about it though, but because I have to though. But at the same time, it's um it's what made me write though. Like I
Mm.
don't think I would have written if I didn't go through that stuff that I went through. And it wasn't all bad. I went through some good stuff too. A lot of it didn't come till later. But when it did happen, it happened though. And but music though was always a big thing to me. When I was a little kid, about 5, I learned how to play the violin. And I don't if anybody have ever watched
Mm.
Drumline, they'll know what I'm talking about. But
Uh-huh.
I didn't know how to read the tablatures,
Oh, wow.
the notes. So what I do was my grandmother and grandpa had an old record player, like old record player from early 1900s, maybe a little bit longer than that, and I would play Bach and Beethoven and classical artists, and I would sit there and I would listen. I would have the earpiece thing like on the little horn or whatever. I'd have it
Mhm.
sitting next to my ear, and then I'd have the violin, and I would close my eyes and I would try to listen to the notes and match them. And
Wow.
eventually, I got to the point where I would just memorize it and play it. And then uh, one day when I went into class and the teacher wanted us to, he was picking songs for us to write and, or not write, but songs for us to play. And I picked the Beethoven Ninth Symphony. And
Mm.
so I sit down and, I'm not thinking in my mind though. I have to pretend like I'm watching the tablatures though, because my teacher's watching me. Because the whole assignment is for him to see that we know the notes. I mean, I knew the notes, but just not based on paper though. Um, so I close my eyes and I start playing. And then at the end of class, my teacher asked me, he's like, "Do you know how to read the notes?" And I said, "No." He goes, "How'd you learn?" I said, "I just listened to it." And
Mm.
needless to say, though, that was the last time I ever was in that class again, though, for some reason. But
Wow.
I still continued to play the violin for another 2 years. And then, unfortunately, uh, something happened where a neighbor downstairs in one of the apartments fell asleep with a cigarette in his hand. Downstairs caught on fire, and me and my brother's bedroom and part of the upstairs caught on fire. So my violin went with it. It
Oh
was a
my
whole
God.
$1,500 investment, but we're talking about like mid to late 80s though. So $1,500 was quite a bit of money back then
Yeah.
for a violin.
Right. Wow.
But and then from there I started getting into rock music. I got into punk music. Then I got into heavy metal. From there, started listening. Well, I listened to rap music actually in the late '80s, though. I listened to like hip hop roots, though, like
Mhm.
KRS-One and
Okay.
DOS Effects and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then I don't know why, but I gravitated towards rap because I liked the expression, I liked the characters. Um, and so I started writing rap music. And then middle school, I joined a band called Soul Survivors where I would rap and they would play rock music. And this is before, people like Sublime and stuff was coming out. Like this is like before they even came out, maybe like a year. And the
Mm.
next thing you know, all these bands started coming out that did rap and rock together though, which was kind of interesting. And then shortly after that, we just kind of fell off, and that was it. Uh, then fast forward to high school, I got a friend who was like, "Hey, I got this guy who has a recording studio. You should go in and start recording." So I was kind of reluctant though. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then one day I went into the studio. I think it was sophomore year of high school,
Mhm.
and it started out as something just more playing around. I didn't really take it seriously. I just because I didn't. I don't know. I don't think I had planned for anything to come of it though. I just kind of used it as a way to vent and get whatever it was out of
Mm.
my system though, because your boy was a troublemaker though, so I had to find some way to occupy myself though. Otherwise, it was no good.
Oh, wow.
But then I started doing that, and after high school, when I was 18, I moved to St. Louis, Missouri, over by Natural Bridge and Kings Highway. And while I was there, I met a producer who, at the time, of course, St. Lunatics, Nelly, they were already out. But
Mm.
I met somebody on block over there who was cousins with what was his name? City Spud and Murphy Lee
Wow.
from St. Lunatics. So I started doing that, and he put me in a studio. I started recording music, and then I started performing. And actually, this is something that I forgot to mention though. So while I was recording, I there was this model agency called the Raspberry Company, and they had asked me if I wanted to model. Now I'm over 6'2", so I'm kind of, according to them, I had a model build. I don't think now though, but I did at the time. And what I would do was I would perform my rap music, and then I would go backstage, take off all my baggy clothes and everything, put on suits and ties, and come out there. And then my manager would have me come and meet and greet people in my suit and tie as a model, and then he would
Mm.
introduce me afterwards as, "Hey, this is the rapper." And everyone was like, "Wait a minute, you're the rapper?" He's like, "You don't look anything like when you were on stage rapping." I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm a man of many faces." So I did that for a couple years.
Uh-huh.
Then lived out there for 4 years. Got a chance to be on the set when they did when St. Lunatics did the Air Force Ones over in St. Louis. I was on the set to watch Chingy do the Right Dur video, which was a pretty cool experience actually. Though I got to be on set and see what like real production was like, and
Oh,
how
wow.
the directors and everything. It's a pretty serious event actually though. Like a lot of people think it's like fun and games and everything like that, and it is once you're recording the video, but there's a lot of business to it though. There's a
Mm.
lot of everything's on a time schedule. Everything's, it has to be exact,
Mhm.
and of course, more time goes into it, more they have to cut and put in. So um, then when I was 20, 21, I moved back to California. Met a guy named Crazy, and that's that was his rap name actually though. And then he introduced me to another studio, and I started recording albums over there. I got two albums, never released them though. But I've I've done probably, I don't know, well over 75, 80 shows in the Bay Area. I did 30 in St. Louis, and um, I've performed in front of a lot of great legends. Like I'm not a name dropper though, but I performed in front of people like Tech Nine.
Wow.
Um, I performed in front of the Alcoholics. I went on tour with Snoop Dogg and them, which was a very cool experience though. And then coincidentally, when I went to LA, I met a guy named Chi King who was part of the Killer Bees, which, if
Mm.
those who don't know it though, who are too young to know that though, but it's they're involved with the Wu Tang Clan. I know you know,
Yes.
and
Who?
yeah, so I started hanging out with them. We were going on the West Coast reunion tour. I met Ice Cube and Mac 10, Dr. Dre. Um, then Rock the Bells concert though. I went and saw backstage. I saw Wu Tang perform when they did the holographic
Wow.
of Lil E,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
yeah. It's been a cool experience though. I've had nothing but blessings. And then fast forwarding to now, I meet Monster Yo, and the music recording and stuff like that too, even before he started. And then now we're here at this point, and here I am, and it's just kind of it's all going pretty quick though, quicker than
Mm,
expected. I don't think I ever expected to get to this point though that I am right now, but with God blessing though, it is what it is.
right. Oh, wow. So, like, how many years do you think between the that the start of your career
Mhm.
and today, um, in between? Like, how many years did you like take a break or?
I did take a break. So I took a break for a year. So in St. Louis, I was recording, and then I took up the first 2 years, and then I did the modeling. So I stopped for about a year and a half to concentrate on the modeling part.
Gotcha.
Then I moved back, and I had 6 months gap where I wasn't doing anything, and then that's when I met my friend who got me in the studio.
Gotcha.
I did that for a while. Uh, then I stopped doing it for about a year because I had a lot of situations happen in my life that involved me. Um, well, to start off, I ended up homeless, and so I couldn't really do the things that I wanted to do for a couple years.
Mm,
Fast forward that, I moved to LA, and then I started doing music again.
mm,
Um, Moved out here, did music up until 2015, stopped, and then 2017 to 21, I picked it up again. Then I started going through some mental illnesses actually that I started picking up. I didn't know it, but I was suffering from depression really
mm,
bad.
mhm,
I had PTSD from a lot of childhood trauma growing up. Um, then I developed anxiety and panic attacks. So I've been hospitalized about 4 or 5 times, got treatment, and then did music again about a year ago.
mhm.
And then I went through 3 months where I stopped. And then I keep mentioning about him though, but Monster Yo, he encouraged me to get back into it again. Um, and then I started reading his books, um, which I highly recommend anybody who wants to be inspired, develop the courage, the responsibility, the creativity. Anybody who wants to, uh, I kind of learned how you want to be treated is the way you treat yourself
Mhm,
out of a couple of his books that I read. But those books I recommend people go get. They are
yeah.
on Amazon right now, though. I wish I had a link, but check out Monster Yo on Instagram, though. You can find us on Instagram, though, and see him on there too. And all praise to him. He's helping me get my book started too, as well.
That's an amazing story. Wow. Yeah, definitely. He has lots of stories,
Oh yeah,
and he's a huge advocate for the community and a lot teaching the young kings and helping them out too.
yes,
So,
yeah.
but I'm so like happy that everything is working out and
Thank you.
you're so when I first met you online, I was like, "Oh wow, he's full of light. He's full of energy."
I try to
And
be.
that's why I'm like, okay, okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what drew me to you. I was like, "Wow, you're just a phenomenal person." You
Thank
know.
you. Thank you so much. You as well. Appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you. So you mentioned you're from San Jose, California.
Hmm.
How has your hometown influenced your work as an artist and writer?
Um, I don't know. I'm pretty conflicted with the question because I don't think it's so much my hometown. Um, I think it's more the people that I've met in my life.
Okay.
Because I've never, I I think like wherever I've been, I've never really felt at home necessarily though. Because I don't. I've had a lot of times in my life where I didn't know what to call home. So I developed a lot of my journey, my personality, how I
Mhm.
am around the people that came into my life,
Right.
whether they stayed there or they didn't stay there. Many of that contributed to the person that I developed or became to be today, right now, though. So, um, but San Jose is cool. Like I definitely am not. I'm not trying to talk down in my city. I don't want to make anybody upset. Like West Coast California. That's where I
H.
get Dub Cal. Dub Cal is West Coast Cali. So that's so. I definitely. If it wasn't for the Bay Area, though, I might not be on the mark where I am today, though.
Mhm.
So, but there's people though from everywhere, all across the United States. People in Cuba, Mexico,
Right.
Latin America. Like I got people all over. So
Mm.
even my Middle Eastern family out in Iran, they give me a
Mm.
lot of courage and representation too. So it's a well blended diet, if I could put it the right
Okay.
way.
That is so cool. I was trying to, because I was trying to guess your ethnicity.
Everybody
Um,
does actually.
and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So according to my ancestry.com,
Uh-huh.
I found out on my dad's side. So I'm 50% Persian, but my culture is all over the Middle East, Egypt, Iraq, Baghdad,
Oh.
Saudi Arabia, and then part of my culture even goes to the bottom of Africa, which
Mm.
I found out I'm 8% black. I don't. I'm not trying to say, hey, I'm black or nothing like that, though, but that's what it says. And then the rest of me is French, British, Lithuanian, Ukrainian, Russian, and Dutch.
Wow, that's a huge mix.
I'm a big mutt.
Yeah. Funny story. I did the 23andMe too, and so I have some African in me.
Yeah,
Uh,
you'd be surprised. I found a
yeah,
lot of people have African in them. It's kind of interesting, though. Kind of shows something, though.
yeah, yeah. That most definitely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that basically you have a creative mind, and
Hmm.
your work, your artistry is well blended. Can you tell us more about the poetry side of your art and storytelling?
Yeah. So, well, as far as poetry, so poetry was kind of more so like the way that I viewed certain things in life. Usually, that's how like some of my poetry came up. Um, I get a lot of my inspiration from looking around at people and life itself. Some of my inspiration comes from my kids. Well, not some of it, a lot of it actually comes from the inspiration of my kids. Uh, but I believe that to tap into your creativity, and I think everyone is capable of doing that. I don't think there's such thing as not being creative though. Like
Mhm.
I believe that if you want to be creative, you will be creative though, and you don't have to write a book or or do music or write poetry. You could like you could be on a podcast doing shows. You could host. You could be creative at your job, making sales, or selling cars, or like I do, I sell medical ultrasound equipment on the side, so
Hmm.
I mean you could looking if you spend your time to look up at things and see the world and look at what's going on around you,
Right.
and honestly for me it's small things. it could be
Yeah.
it could be the way the wind is blowing the grass, or the way the trees are
Yes.
waving in the air, or if there's a bug in my face or something like that, the way that it is like just it's like little ass things though. Like everything's
Right.
from little to big. Like you can get your inspiration from anywhere. So like when people are like, oh, like I mean, I get it, a writer's block or creative block. That's one thing though, but I don't. People tell me like, oh, I'm not creative. I'm not creative. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear that. You are creative. You just don't
Right.
know it yet though. That's the problem though. But also, I think a lot of people don't try things though. Also,
Mm.
like I think the biggest issue that I have with the world as a whole is there's a good portion of us that get stuck in a bubble, and we
Mhm.
get comfortable in that bubble. And I think the
Yep.
best motto that I've always lived by is the best way to get comfortable is to be uncomfortable,
Mhm.
because that's the only way you're going to know your limits. And if you
Mm.
don't know your limits, then you're really just a gimmick. You know what I mean? Like you just that's all you really are.
There you are
We're
rhyming.
rhyming
Look,
again though. Yeah. So if you don't know
we
your
can
limits, you're
start
really just a gimmick.
freestyling.
Yes, sir. So
Hit it. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, Then drop the mic.
No, but you brought up a great point. I too have to confess, even though I was in the military for 24 years,
And I
you get
salute you.
thank you. You get stuck in this everyday life. I mean, yeah, it was great to know what I was wearing the next day, right? You
Yeah,
just wear the uniform and you didn't have to think about it.
right.
But now that I'm retired, it's like, okay, what's what's
Yeah,
next?
what's next? Exactly.
I'm not getting any
Exactly.
orders. I'm the one that's like doing the orders
As you
now.
said, now you're giving the order. You're the
And
sergeant
I'm
at
like,
arms.
I'm like, wait, where did the time go? So yeah,
Right.
definitely you can get stuck in a rut. And I've had to get out of that bubble.
Hmm.
And it can be very difficult and challenging to get out of that bubble for your to explore the world, you
Hmm.
know? And
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 I think too, sometimes feeling comfortable is not really being comfortable, to be honest. I think you just, when you just kind of fall into that though, you're like, I don't know. To me, it kind of feels like you're really just giving up. You know what I mean?
right,
Like there's no life in you and stuff. And it's like, are you breathing? You know,
right.
if you're breathing, if you're sweating, if you're coughing, if you're sleeping, if you're snoring, like you're getting up, you're walking around, you're alive. You have the soul and the body and the ability
That's
to
true.
create. You know what I mean? You
That's so
just
true.
you let yourself get in that position though. And I'm not faulting anybody for that. I mean, trust me, I've been in that position. I've gotten that many times. You know, and I still do, even to
Right.
this day, I still do, you know. But I change my surroundings though every time I feel too comfortable though.
Mm,
And that's the best way to do it.
true. That's so true. And some people snore louder than others.
Yes.
Just a
Some
little
people do.
tidbit.
Apparently I smell pretty loud. I'm not sure. I'm starting to wonder if I got sleep apnea or not though. I don't even know.
Right, right.
Might have to get a study.
There you go. Most definitely, I recommend that. So, the children's book that
Mhm.
you're about to release, that's coming on Amazon, what
Yes.
inspired you? I know you mentioned your daughter.
Yes.
Um, what inspired you to write it, and then how is it different from other children's novels?
Um, well, my daughter's interesting though. She likes to be fancy. She likes to wear fancy clothes, fancy jewelry. Um, and I kind of like I worried about it though because I
Mm,
I don't want her to get so stuck on the and on a like people get stuck on an image that they think others want to see
uh, mhm,
versus the image that they should see in themselves though. And
mm,
so what I worry with her is I don't want her to get stuck in the idea of worrying about how other people are viewing her, because then if she's looking in the mirror at herself, she's not going to see her beauty
mm,
that's within herself, that makes her
right,
herself though. And you lose yourself when you
right.
don't see that though. um so I created the book Fancy Fancy, um because I want her and other girls even too. Like I could say boys too, but I say girls because I think girls, it hits harder for women
Mhm,
and young,
mhm.
especially young girls as they grow up, because
Yeah.
with social media, with
Oh,
news
yeah.
and TV and everything that you see, it kind of distorts your perception on how you see yourself though, and then
Mm,
you get stuck on what you think other people should see you. And I wanted her and other little girls to read this book
mm.
and understand that you don't have to conform with society's expectations. You
Right.
can live on your own terms,
Mhm.
live on your own standards, live on your own expectations though. And that there's nobody else in this world is should define that in any kind of
Right.
way. And if someone else does, then sorry, but they're not good people though. And like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be around those people. You shouldn't make friends with those people. Be around people that are comfortable in their own skin,
Yeah.
who, even if I don't care if a million people say, man, he looked crazy with his outfit. But here's the thing though. If I know him and I say, hey, you know what, but that's his personality,
Mhm.
that's okay with me though, because that's who he is, like.
Right.
And judgment is a big factor to uh to society these days. So we're
Mhm.
so quick to judge, and it's funny to me because like you'll see people judge somebody from how they dress, but then at
Yeah.
the same time I'm like, well, do you realize right now I'm judging you by how you're judging somebody else? And
Mhm.
I may not be right about it though, but the difference is I'm judging you how you show me.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And what you're judging is based on an opinion of
Yeah.
yourself. And to me, I feel like that's a reflection of your darkness.
Mhm.
That's a reflection of your darkness. And I don't feel like you look at yourself in a comfortable manner though. I
Yep.
feel like you lack the confidence that you should be representing yourself as though. And if you're sitting there and you're looking like every other girl in school and every other girl your age, then you're not living your life. You're living
Mm.
that life through other people's eyes. And
Mm.
that's not good. And so I want my daughter and girls who read this book, and
Mhm.
especially young little girls that read this book, if they do happen to read this book, and if their parents even read this book, to
Right.
get that out of it though, and teach their kids like be confident, be comfortable with who you are. Don't let any factor or anybody else compromise who you know who you are.
That's so true. I mean, it does hit a lot hard. I'm not saying that boys don't get it. Boys get it from a different perspective. I have two boys,
Hmm.
and I have a little girl, but definitely there's a lot of things that women or females go through um, in regards to the beauty, right? The image that
Right.
society has tried to conform or programmed you to think. And to me, it's about the heart,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
and and I think that you'll always win when you actually show your heart. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think, but sometimes it's like a catch-22. So like
Yeah.
I wear my heart on my sleeves, and it's like people, they take advantage of it or whatnot. But most definitely, as far as people judging, as far as people talking about you, it's always going to be that way. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter. At the end of the day, somebody has something to say, and
Right.
it's your belief system
Right.
that's going to inspire and empower you. So yeah, I'm so proud. Like, I'm so proud of you being this dad. Like,
Thank you.
it just really touches my heart to know that situational awareness and how we're raising our kids,
Right.
and how society views children in general, people in general, because we're still kids. I mean,
Right.
come on, like,
I mean, we're learning every day, and that's
right.
the truth. So my grandpa always used to say, if you get to a certain point in your age where you feel like you don't have to learn anything, then you might as well die. Because they're like, what's the point? Like, you're supposed to live life to learn every day.
Right. Like, we're a lot of people are zombies. I
Right.
hate to say it, but
It's a
it's
zombie
just like,
nation.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Hmm.
your upcoming project, the murder mystery novel,
Hmm.
right? How do you like, because you're creating all these books and different
I know.
genres, like, how do you balance it all?
Um, to be honest, I don't honestly have like a good answer for that.
Okay.
I kind of, it's kind of like really just, it came up really. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I wrote a bunch of children's books, and then so the thing about me is I'm really into like horror flicks and murder
Yeah.
flicks and like crime mystery novel,
Okay.
crime and mystery things. And so I kind of was like, I want to see if I could write a murder mystery novel though. And it took me a few weeks. I mean, I kind of like, I started, and then I started over, and then I started and started over, and after about 5 or 6 times,
Uh-huh.
I finally came up with like a synopsis on how I
Mm.
wanted to go about it though. And it wasn't complete though, but it was a start.
Okay.
And then so as I started writing, it just kind of like would go, and I would write a little bit, and I put it down, and then it'd be sitting there on the tip of my head, and I would kind of just start thinking about it, and then I start writing again, and
Hmm.
then I would put it down, and then think about it some more, and then start writing again until And then finally, I just kind of, it got to a point where my mind just kind of was like, okay,
Mm.
I'm exhausted. With this though, like, and so and then I just finally ended it, like, because I could have kept, if I kept going, it would have been, it probably would have been, it would have been so long, I wouldn't even have wanted to put anybody through all that reading. It would have been crazy.
That is too funny. So, is it like, I guess, correlated to kind of like a Stephen King, or, like a Tales of the Crypt, or I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't
Suspense
know.
thriller. I don't know. Stranger.
It
What
could
is
be
it called?
kind of suspenseful though,
Okay.
actually though, because it's like the basic gist about it is it's a little town, and in this little town there's all these like mysterious deaths that keep happening.
Oh wow.
And there's this girl named Clara who returns back to the town to go to a funeral of a death, and all these deaths start happening, and they basically take it upon themselves to work, her and like a few other people from the town take it upon themselves to work with the police department to try to uncover or unravel the clues and stuff that they
Oh
have
wow.
to discover the mysteries on why it's happening, and then they kind of uncover like a cult, if you will.
Mm,
So
wow.
that's like the best gist that I could give out of that book on what it's about, though.
Oh wow. That's very interesting. Yeah, usually the horror films start with going to a small town and
Yeah, so I mean, the beginning part's a little cliche. Yeah, yeah, it's a
yeah,
little cliche.
that's really interesting. Okay. Hmm. So when you write, right, what is your process when you approach the different genres?
Um, I don't really have a process actually, to be honest.
Okay.
It just I kind of just I run with my inspiration. Like
Uh-huh.
where I get inspired, that's where I go. And
Uh-huh.
if I'm not feeling that though, then I just won't do it. And
Uh-huh.
then because most of the time what happens is something just comes up in my mind, and then I'm like,
Okay.
I'll either sit on it for a couple days or a little while, and but sometimes something will come in my mind, and then I'll just start writing it out.
Hmm.
And I usually keep going until I finish. I don't know when I'm gonna finish. I just go, and then and then I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like you come up like maybe characters or themes or a
Yeah, normally
concepts.
a lot of the time, like my children's books, though, a lot of the time
Hmm.
they're inspired by like what I see through my kids.
Okay.
So it's either like that, or sometimes actually too. There's been times where I've written some of my children's books based on my own life as a kid, and
Uh-huh.
so it was either like if I had questions as a kid, as a kid questioning certain things, and then I'd write a book
Right.
based on that. Um,
Okay.
Sometimes it could be even as something as simple as like my kids coming to me and asking me a question,
Oh wow.
and then it would inspire a novel though. So, uh,
Mm.
like just for example, I got another, the second book that I think I might come out with is a book called Love Yourself. That
Mm.
one is dedicated to my oldest daughter.
Wow.
Um, I sometimes I feel like my daughter doubts herself,
Mm-hmm.
and she questions how good she is at something, and always
Mm.
thinks she's not good enough for this or good enough for that. So I made a book called Love Yourself though, so that
Okay.
way people who doubt themselves, and it's not just towards girls necessarily though, it's towards anybody really. I mean, of course, specifically kids, since it is a children's novel,
Yeah.
but to kind of teach them to love who you are, and
Mm.
don't discredit yourself though, and be strong and powerful. It's okay to speak up, and you don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
silent just because you're a girl or a little boy or a young kid or disabled, or doesn't matter. Like it just, speak up, make your voice heard.
Mm.
um, and then my son is uh, he's 7 years old, but he's a super genius. He's got a photographic memory.
Mm.
He loves the geography. He loves space. He loves
Yeah.
science. Um, so I wrote this book that I have inspired by him. Is It's called "Do You Know the Countries? Let Me Teach You." And
Mm.
So like, yeah, there are little passages on each country of the world, and it has a
Nice.
passage about certain things that represent that country, though. So which is really cool.
Wow.
So
That sounds very, and it sounds like an interactive type of book.
it kind of is, yeah. That one's a little bit more
Yeah.
interactive though. So and I got another one too, um, that I might come out. It's another interactive book. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt kind of book, but
Oh, okay.
it's about a monkey who's like he needs help finding his things, and basically like you interact with it by you read a passage though, and then the kid can respond with the phrase or something like that to the book, and as the reading though, and
Hmm.
and it's almost like as if the character responds back directly to what they say.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Wow, that sounds really fun. I think children, of course, want to be entertained as well. So sounds like the interactive books are the way to go.
I hope
Uh,
so. We'll see. We'll see when once it drops. We'll see.
which leads me to ask, do you aim to deliver specific messages or life lessons to the young readers, also the parents, because they need help too.
Yeah. Well, to the kids, definitely listen to your parents. Um, Listen to your grandparents. Follow your values.
Right.
Follow your traditions, and that'll help you stay grounded with your culture, with your life, with your family. And even if you disagree with them, they might not say everything that you want to hear. But trust me, when you get older, you're gonna realize that a lot of that was useful in your life. As far as parents, um, stay close to your kids, listen to them, don't judge them, try not to accuse them of stuff, but more, I mean, you don't have to be their best friend, but let them
Mhm.
know that you're open to hear what they're going through, because we live in a time where kids these days are very sensitive.
Mhm.
School shootings are at a high.
Yeah.
Suicide rates are at a high when it comes to young kids. Because of stuff like body shaming,
Right.
drugs, alcohol abuse. Like and there's a lot of broken homes in society
Mm.
too, and so whatever whatever comes forth to the future can't just be expected from the kids. It has to come 50-50 from the parents as well. And if you can meet halfway um, with your kids, I can promise that any kid's going to be willing to come to their parent for anything that they need, for sure.
Mm.
You just got to come at them with no judgment.
Yeah, that and I find what helped me is reflecting on being a kid and the
Hmm.
stuff that I went through and stuff that you didn't I didn't really care for, right? Because you can
Right,
change the parent can change the narrative of how they discipline the kids and how they raise their kids, right?
right.
I grew up in a household like yelling, screaming, you know,
I feel you on that one.
get get that big belt over there type
Right.
of thing.
Go get that twitch on. Go get that
Yeah.
biggest twitch up on the tree and climb up there and get it. Yep, I was
So,
there.
but it's I think that we talk about generational curses, and I'll move on. But in order to break it, you have to break the stuff that you've learned and unlearn those things,
Right.
and
They break the
figure out,
cycle.
yeah, how to show love and uh, how just embrace your kids. A lot of parents, I mean, growing up, I know my parents love me, right?
Mhm.
But I hug my kids a lot. I'm not
I do
saying that
too.
they didn't hug me or show love, but I make it intentional, you know,
Right. As I do that with
because
my kids. I do that with my kids too. Like I always tell them I love them and I'm proud of them, and you could do it. Like encouraging them though. And I think too, like we get so caught up in life that we forget to like tell our kids how much we
yeah,
appreciate them, and I think as a result, when we forget, our kids forget to appreciate us as
Yeah.
parents though. And like you said, it's reciprocated back and forth though.
Oh yes, yes, and it's okay to say I'm sorry to your child.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean, we grew up like, oh, we're the boss, and we're you
Well,
say
the thing is,
sorry.
as parents though, we're on a learning curve as we go because we're kind of on the fly, and then we but believe it or not, we learn from our kids too. That's the
Oh
thing too.
yeah.
You can never be too old to learn.
Hmm.
To say teach an old dog new tricks.
I'm trying to tell you, because
Yeah.
like my son, he just grew these mango trees.
Oh,
I
nice.
guess he has a green thumb. I didn't know all these things, but there's a certain way you're supposed to, when you take the seed, you're supposed to place it accordingly.
Yeah, certain way.
And yeah, and
Yep.
it's like, no, 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 let me do. Okay, now it's proper or whatever. Accurate.
Hey,
He's
I
just,
love that about him.
he's,
From one green thumb to another, tell him I said good job, though. I'm a green thumb. I got a whole big garden out back though.
oh my
So
gosh,
yeah, I
yeah.
got a green thumb myself though. Luckily, from my grandparents.
Right. I think we're gonna have to invest in a greenhouse soon. I don't
Hey,
know.
look, I tell everyone like this: if you're worried about something going on with society and stuff, start getting your green thumb nursery on. That's all I'm
Right?
gonna say
I
because
love it.
you're gonna need to live off of that though.
And he said, Mom, I'm doing this for you. Okay. So that way we don't have to buy fruits. You don't have to waste money.
Hey, well, you know
That's
what?
so true.
With the way that things are going right now, though,
Right?
I mean, geez, all the imports are getting expensive.
I'm trying to tell you. Uh, so um I know you mentioned so many different things that you're coming out with, right? What is the biggest challenges that you faced in balancing? I know there's no such thing as work life balance. They always promoted that when I was in the government. There's no such thing as work life balance. Yeah,
No,
right.
no, there isn't.
um, what was the biggest challenges just in general, being a parent and being this author, being this just everything, music artist. What's the
Um,
biggest challenges you faced?
I think honestly, for me, I think the biggest challenge is, I think being a parent, actually,
Mm,
the more than anything. The other stuff kind of is second nature to me, though. But I worry about how I influence them. I constantly am worrying about what I say, how I
mm,
act, the way that I react.
right.
Also, is a big thing. Uh, my life choices, though, I worry about how they view me as they get older. Especially now that
Mm,
my oldest daughter is 12. She's
yeah.
pre-teening right now, as they call it. And so I think as they get older, you realize how fast time flies.
Hmm.
Because I, I was like 30 or something when I had my first kid, and so you don't really like you don't really like see life a certain way until you have a kid, and then when the kid comes and you realize that you start realizing like your responsibility, everything that you say and do and act, and all the moves that you make
Yeah.
are going to be viewed under a microscope though, and especially with my oldest, so everything that I do is always questioned. She's like all up in my business, and like, but I love it about her because you know curiosity is the best innocence that anybody could ever have, to
Mm.
an extent and at a certain age.
Right.
And but I do encourage my kids to be curious, and
Right.
the reason why is because when you're curious, you tend to find the answers that you're looking for. You
Mm.
question the ability to know what is right and what is wrong.
Mhm.
You understand the importance of living and the
Yeah.
importance of what you should and shouldn't do and how it affects your life growing up, though. So um, but I fear my kids growing up too fast, more
I
importantly
know.
than anything. So, in about 4 more years, my kid will be in high school, and she won't want to get hugs from me no more. And
Oh,
that's
man.
that's that's what I fear the most. But it's cool. She's 12 years old, and she still loves to jump in my arms when she comes home and says I love you and stuff. She's a very bright kid, and all my kids are bright. They're big. Uh, they set a good standard to the platform in which I want to represent myself to the rest of the world and to them.
Mm, I love it. Don't worry. Once they're in high school, they'll still come and hug you. Even as an adult, my oldest, he's turning 20, and I cannot
Oh
believe it.
man,
And in my mind, he's still a baby. He's still the infant that I was.
right.
It's
And I
really,
think
it's so surreal.
oh man, it's crazy. I'm getting anxiety even just thinking about when my daughters start dating. I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
my,
god!
let me get my guns out.
Right,
Let me start polishing my guns right now.
right, exactly. I'm trying to think of that movie. I think it was Fat. Was it Fast and Furious, or it
I
was one
can't
of those.
remember. There was a movie though where he starts. I think it was like I don't know if it was like
I
Bernie
was.
Mac or something like
Oh
that. He starts
yeah,
polishing
maybe.
his guns. That's so funny. Oh
I
no,
was like,
it was a movie with Bill Bellamy. I think it was, if I remember correctly, or he goes to like date his daughter, and he's all Bernie Mac's like, "Let me show you
right,
my guns out back" or whatever.
right. Oh man, that's gonna be an interesting phase, but
Right.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be
We'll see.
okay.
I'm just gonna go day by day and see how it goes, and just kind of get it from there. I'll catch the wind where it catches me.
Okay, don't be the helicopter parent, okay?
No, no, that's definitely. I give my kids space though because I want them to be able to figure it out on their own too. You know,
Yeah.
and the
That's
thing is too, I notice you give them space, you give them the ability to come and ask you questions though, and they don't feel afraid to do so.
yeah, and sometimes too much questions.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? No, it's great. It's great though.
I'll
That's
tell you
that's
about them
it.
later.
Yeah,
Until you get
exactly.
older.
So, in terms of your poetry, right?
Mhm.
What themes or emotions, do you find yourself returning mostly to when you write your poetry?
I think a lot of it has to do with questions about life,
Mm,
um,
mm,
insecurities, questioning faith and fate.
mhm,
Some of it's even about friendship, about love, about there's one called "You Are," which is a poem about, you are special, you are
mhm,
great, things like that. Self confidence, and
mhm.
trying to inspire other people. I have another poem called "Writer's Block," which months ago, if he's listening to this, he'll know what I'm talking about. But I was literally sitting for like 2 days trying to write a poem, and I was like, "Damn, I have writer's block." Next thing you know, I start writing a poem about writer's block. I don't know. I sent I sent my
That's
poem
funny.
to Monster Yo, and Monster Yo replies back. He's like, "Damn, you literally just sat back having writer's block and wrote a poem about writer's block. God damn." I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Just happened.
Oh man, that's
I
hilarious.
must have been that frustrated.
Mhm. Yeah. So, who are some of your biggest influences in writing?
Writing.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't really know any authors offhand, so I'm not really sure. But
Or poetry or
poetry, I'm not really sure. I used to like Shakespeare a lot.
okay.
Actually, Shakespeare was very
Yeah.
it was very emotional, very triggering at
Mhm.
times, and it also made you think a lot,
Mhm.
which was kind of cool. But the something about his poetry was so good. I used to
Mhm.
look at stuff like Van Gogh
Yes.
paintings. So Van Gogh would make me like question like certain things, and like you come up with certain ideas in your head, and it was something about his paintings were very just
Oh
colorful and
yeah.
vivid. Um, but my present day inspiration as far as creators right now, I keep saying this, but I definitely say Monster Yo though for sure.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
and then actually another some new inspirations to me recently too have been my homie from J West 100
Okay.
from Get Rich Off Rap.
Mm-hmm.
and Money Bag Bros, Little Money Draws. Also, shout out to Noel Knowles, and another Noel Knowles is another person too that's inspired me. Mr. Positive Your Way, and I have to give a shout out to Dave's too.
Okay. Wow.
And of course, you actually, you too, you as well.
Well,
We can't
thank you,
forget you.
sir. I truly appreciate you. Um,
No worries.
so what's been the most rewarding part of your creativity, your journey
Um,
so far?
I think with my creativity, I've gone to learning more about myself and who I am as a
Mm,
person. But the biggest thing is too is the people that have gravitated towards me. Um, I've I've let go let go of a lot of people in my life, but in return I've gained, um, a smaller portion, but a portion that it's smaller as far as quantity, but greater in the amount of support and love and courage and kindness and
mm,
inspiration that I received from people.
mm.
So that's probably the most rewarding about it, and it's caused me to see life in a more positive manner.
Wow. I love it. So if you can describe your creative, I know it's not process, but just your
Mhm.
creativity period.
Mhm.
What can you describe it in 3 words? What would it be?
Let's see, man, that's a hard question actually. um, I'd say deep,
Okay.
um, thoughtful,
Uh-huh.
and confusing at times.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting mix. It's almost like sweet and salty. Like
Yeah, maybe
you're
maybe a
like,
little sweet, salty, and sour all at the same time.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like the
Like a sour patch. I'm a sour
right.
patch
Oh
kid.
yeah, like a sour patch. Hey, who doesn't like sour patch, right?
Hey, I do.
Oh my goodness. Um, and what one book or poem or piece of art piece has impacted you to this day, personal in a
um,
personal note?
I can't think of anything in the past off the top of my head. I know I did like was it Catcher in the Rye was a good one. But right now off the top of my head, the only thing I can say is Monster Hero. Like I say that because
Oh,
it's the only thing that I've kind of really just gravitated towards those books, and I've read 2 of his books, and I'm getting ready to purchase another one in another week. I'm not sure if that's his only book though, but if it is Monster Hero, I'm gonna find out. I'm
okay.
gonna find out if he has more.
Oh, there's lots more. I have some of his books as well. So different type of
Yeah, I'm gonna
genres.
find out. I'm gonna get all the books though, and I'm gonna read them all.
Okay. So how do you
His
unwind?
creativity is good.
Oh
Oh, sorry.
yeah, he's no worries. I was gonna ask, how do you unwind, like recharge? Do some R&R, rest and recovery. How do you? What do you do to you
Um,
know for rest?
I usually, honestly, the thing I love to do is just
Uh
sit
oh.
and do nothing. And
Us.
if
Uh,
oh, I was gonna say something happened to the screen for a second there. It
yeah.
scared me.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
so like, what's that?
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. So no, I usually just like to sit and do nothing. Actually, like I don't want to be bothered or anything like that. But aside from that, just watching my kids, seeing them play and having fun with them, and I'm a very hands-on parent though, so when I'm not on social media and I'm not working, I like to unwind with my kids. I got my youngest. I don't know. I keep looking back because I'm wondering where my youngest daughter is at this time. She's the
Uh-oh.
only one. She's the only one of my kids though that I've always been able to like break away from, and she just does her own thing. I never have to worry about it though. But I hear her walking by me a couple times though, and she doesn't say anything, but she knows what I'm doing. So,
Yeah, a little bit. I think one of mine is yelling for me, but that'll be okay.
hey,
Uh,
hey, yelling is okay too. Sometimes people like to smash stuff. That's
right.
all right.
That's so true.
Everybody
Um,
has a thing.
so what's the best advice ever given to you?
Best advice.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'd say I don't know. My grandpa used to always say, "Think for yourself.
Mm.
If you want to find the answers, research, and don't go with the first thing that you hear. Question everything, and try to surround yourself in front of people that will motivate you, not just by their words but by their actions."
Oh,
So,
wow. Shout
yeah,
out to your grandpa for sure. Wow,
yeah.
that wise.
Well,
Those are,
words. I've learned
yeah.
that words are very little to me though. I don't.
Mhm.
I'll hear you though. Don't get me wrong. I'll hear you though. But if I don't see what you're preaching though, it means nothing.
That's so true. Yeah, actions speak louder than words. That's what they say, just in
Right.
general.
It's
So,
the truth though.
right? So, what's next for Joe Ham, and what message would you like to give the audience tonight?
Aside from my books, working on getting a mixtape out called uh, I forget. Oh shoot, I can't even think of the name right now. I don't remember what it's called. Um, it's called Lyrical Menace. It's the mixtape album. That'll be on Amazon for free. And then I got my solo album, which will be coming out. I'm not sure yet. It was supposed to come out at the end of this year,
Mm,
but I got a couple more tracks I want to plug in. I got some features coming up that I'm doing for some artists. Shout out to my homie Ion Plex though. Doing a song for him too. Just working on getting in the studio. My boy Monstio is helping me out with that too. But other than that, I'm not really sure what is in store for me though. I'm kind of just playing it day by day. I don't try to worry about the past. I don't try to look too far forward. I just look at the moment though that I have right now. And um, I'd say the best advice I could give to people is whatever you think of in your mind, ask yourself, how is it going to affect me and the people around me?
mm,
What do I have to do to get there? Plan out the steps. Don't just figure out what's successful, but figure out the failures so that way when the failures do come, you have a backup plan on how to be
mm,
successful. But just know that don't rush into anything though. When you rush
mhm,
into anything, you're not going to succeed.
mm,
I myself have tried to go from here to here and I've fallen farther back down than when I first started though. So
mm,
understand that everything is a process, and as you're building, surround yourself in front of motivators. Surround yourself in front of people that are codependent but also independent.
mhm,
You don't want someone that's going to leech on you. You want someone that's always going to be proud of you, that you could be proud of them as well. They're going to always pick you up when you're there. They're going to be there when you're down here. And I've been blessed to have people like that in my life going forward, though. And I just hope that I can continue to keep doing what I'm doing. And I let it be in God's hands though. But I'm happy where I'm in right now today though. So right now I just live in the moment.
mm. Sounds like me.
Yeah, I think everybody should.
I love it. Yeah. So how can people reach you?
Best way to reach me would be on my Instagram. It's at real Joe Ham, real JoeHam, like ham that you eat. Real Joe Ham on Instagram. I do have a YouTube link that's on there. It's got my music video. Shout out my boy Rich Off Rap, and shout out my boy J West 100 for being in that video. Shout out to my boy Derek for also cameo in it, and also shout out to my homies at Speedy Auto Tint over in LA for letting me shoot the spot over there. Though, y'all want to check out the video, click on the link, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think though, and send me a DM. And also, I want to tell everyone too, as the holidays are approaching, if you feeling down or you feel like you need someone to talk to, you feel like you need someone to listen, hit me up in my DM. I will contact you. I'm a one-on-one person, though. I'm as real as it gets, though. So don't be afraid. Just know that there are people like me out there, though, that want to be there for you too.
Mm. Yeah, and the puppy agrees as well.
Yeah, that's my dog. A little dog. You heard a little noise and started barking.
Right? Same here, folks. Well, with that being said, thank you so much, Joe. We really appreciate you here at the 360, and this is all our beginning,
Yes.
uh, for many to come.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
look forward to it, and I hope so too. And I thank you so much for this. I appreciate your
Well,
time, your energy, your positivity, and everything like that. I thank you for your support. And like I said before, if there's anything I need to do to support you, you always hit me up, let me know, send me something to my DM. I'll post it.
Well, with that being said, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment to view all the episodes on Internet 360. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just created a TikTok account, and there's probably some other Google Play or whatever.
You got it all.
Yeah, we're everywhere. And
Yep.
please, let's continue to support the Unity for Social Justice. Let's free Master Yo and our brothers and sisters that need our support. This has been a broadcast of showing love full circle between NNO 360 and Mr. Johan. Please hold tight, sir. Salute.
Okay. Salute. Thank you.